Hey there, once again, Dan. It's Ty Haber. This is screencast number 2. This is the second screencast I've ever made in my life, so I hope you're duly honored and that kind of stuff. So, part 2, the Idealist. You wanted us to think about, hey, if we had our druthers and didn't have any sort of barriers, what the heck would our classroom look like, or how we would want to be able to teach. And I was thinking about when I was young, I used to save up my money to go to summer camp. I had summer camp up in a forest in British Columbia, and it was around a lake. And I remember just playing and having fun and learning about the forest and hiking and swimming. And yeah, it was just like an environment that was very conducive to learning about the natural world and just discovering stuff. So I think my ideal learning environment would be something like a camp, or where you could play and have fun and learn in the process. So I like, maybe a lot of people's classrooms are like that already. I know that when I did my undergrad a few years ago, I wasn't playing in the classroom. It was just hammering through content and discussing stuff. My undergrad was in management, a BA in management that I got through the local campus of the University of Redlands. And, the teachers were awesome. The content was really interesting. But a lot of evenings were just spent trying to stay awake, for 4 hours listening to this stuff. So, whereas I think if it was a little more interactive and fun, get up, move around the classroom, do stuff together and in groups, it would have been a lot more fun. So in regards to specific apps or software equipment, my friend recently got one of those VR heads-up thing, like you put it on your face and you're totally immersed in this VR environment. And I had never tried anything like that in my life, but that just blew my mind away. Just being able to look around and you're in this alternate universe, And I think that kind of would be a neat way of connecting students if you could kind of have some sort of remote or distant learning where you're coming together with people around the world that have these kind of stuff, where you can represent yourself in a virtual world and interact with them. It's one thing about looking at a screen or like a Skype or some sort of FaceTime type application when you're looking at somebody or talking to a group of people and the video is kind of cutting out. But I just think it would be neat to be able to kind of like go into a virtual world where you're meeting people, avatars of them, and interacting with them and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it's already out there. I don't know. My buddy's younger son, he's always playing games, and I can hear him talking to people, and I know he's talking to other gamers. So maybe that's what's got to be brought into the classroom, some sort of gamer type environment for kids to learn from. 21st. Oh, you said look at IDST.net or Nets for Educators. I was taking a look at this, and I thought this was kind of neat. What is it? The standards for educators. I guess this is in the modern world, what teachers should strive towards. I think I remember being in elementary school, and there'd be a day off because it was a PD day or professional development day where teachers went off and did something. And I don't know if they still do that or not, but I think it is a cool idea for teachers to be able to continue and maintain their learning and new concepts and that kind of stuff. Most of the teachers that I know already put in tons and tons of hours a day. They're obviously people that are passionate about their career, and they love teaching and that kind of stuff, but it seems like they're continually faced with all sorts of challenges, lack of resources and that sort of thing. So in my perfect world, my perfect classroom, all the resources would be available. Teachers could take a week off to go somewhere to attend a school, in a different country or sort of thing, like working vacation or that sort of thing. Or, I don't know, just learning about other people and other cultures. Not necessarily teaching skills, but I don't know, maybe there's the stuff that they need to learn. Some of this stuff, it's so subjective, like, sure, ideally people would be lifelong learners, but there's people that just show up to collect their paycheck, and they don't put in their time. They don't have the intrinsic motivation to kind of improve themselves and those around them. So I think maybe we need to introduce some sort of like, I don't know, stun guns or something just to shock these people out of their seats. I see it at my own job. You have a select few people that are really interested in learning about new technology and sharing ideas and collaborating and taking risks and trying stuff. And then you've got the other people that just, I don't know, surf the web, send emails to their friends. They're not really there to learn or work hard, or they don't take pride in their work, and oh, geez, whatever. And so, I think in my ideal world, people would be rewarded for their efforts, or at least recognized and acknowledged. We'd have everybody would be fully engaged, or at least close to fully engaged. And I don't know what your coworkers are like, but just something to make sure that everybody was on board. And I know it's never going to be utopia and perfect and all that kind of stuff, but the same goes for leaders and leadership. There's certain people that they don't want to be leaders. They don't want to step up. They don't want to model behavior for other people. They just kind of, I don't know, hang out. I like the idea of teachers as being great models for citizenship and ethics and morals and all that kind of stuff. I think we're shaping the little, what's the word I'm looking for? Social democracy, or social consciousness. I think it's the role and mandate of teachers to teach their students how to become productive members of society and contribute, not take away. That's one of my philosophies in life, is to, when I leave this earth, I want the balance to be in the favor of, hey, I added more to this world than I took from it. So I think in my ideal world, we'd have an environment where people were all contributing and or kind of like stepping up and sharing one another. Sure, there wouldn't be any misogyny or bigotry or racism or prejudice and that kind of stuff. And again, I'm talking out of my butt here, but why can't we all just get along and help each other and, see beyond race and just look at the individual, the intersectionality. We're all made up of individual little bits of culture and history and background and morals and all that kind of stuff. So, I just wish we wouldn't all judge one another and we'd kind of get past all that. And, collaborators, designers, facilitators, analysts, sure. Yeah. In a perfect world, we would be all best at all that kind of stuff. Designer, I don't know. Some people are naturally adapt to new things and technology, and there's something that jumps out on the screen at me. Authentic learning activities. That again, taking this program, I've learned a lot about students today. The project-based learning and authentic learning opportunities. I don't think that I had that when I was growing up, and I think that's a super idea. Having something relatable that the kids can embrace or students can embrace, where they can really identify themselves in the problem or the solution, or it's something relevant and pertinent and not something out of a book, some sort of wild, crazy idea. Like, I like the idea of science related to things that are relevant in our physical world, like not just, I don't know, how much does the sun weigh? Well, okay, maybe that's interesting to somebody, but relevant, authentic instruction is pretty cool. That's all I have to say about ISTE and NETS. Also go back to the class website. So that's my point of view. Great learning opportunities for everybody. Why can't we all get along? In a perfect utopian world, that would be great. Technology is just a tool. I think really it boils down to having teachers that are interested in their students learning, are able and capable of giving them the scaffolds they need, whether that be through technology or some sort of, I don't know, recognizing and understanding their strengths and passions and supporting those. That's all for now. Screencast number 2.